When I first heard that Cranfield University and Blue Bear were teaming up to create a BV loss trial, I was very excited. I have lived and worked in this area. I know it, unlike other places that we report about, where you sort of roughly know the name and roughly where it is. You don't have an intricate knowledge of the place. Now, this area, I do. I've flown over it lots and lots and lots and lived there. The partners intend to create, as I'm reading, the NBEC, the National Beyond Visual Line of Sight Experimentation Corridor. The corridor will stretch across Bedfordshire, from Blue Bear's headquarters in Oakley to Cranfield University's Global Research Airport. Bringing together, as they say, their respective capabilities, the team will be able to combine the best of academia with the best of industry, creating a UK-first national asset. Well, when I thought about making a video, I thought the first thing that I would actually do is imagine people being shown around the area to use this trial.
Well, you know, I'm just the guy to show you around England. Sure, I know all about it. Why shouldn't I? I've been here 3 weeks. Well, first thing I think we ought to take a look at is an English pub.
So my top three then, the Royal George at Stevington, and then the Old Three Fishies at Turvey, and my absolute favourite, the Fox at Carlton. They've probably all changed and are nothing like this anymore. The other thing overseas visitors need to know about is clangers.
Good night.
It's not that sort of clanger, it's this sort of clanger, and that is basically the pasty if you're from Cornwall, sweet and sour on two sides. If you know the channel, if you subscribed, you probably knew where I was going to take this. Of course, into the simulator. And I just want to show you, here we are then airborne, and just want to show you how featureless the terrain is. So there's a week ago when I started thinking about this, I thought, well, let's add some trees, let's add some 3D context into the scenery, because I've sort of remembered that the UK is basically, effectively, flat. There's nothing to it. And our delivery drone will be at low level. No, that's not, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. Oh well, ignore that last bit. So we're flying an X-Plane 10.5. We're in Longies. And here is a fictional runway I've made. A fictional runway I've made just up the road from Blue Bear's headquarters. It's at the former RAF Twinwood Farm. Why did I put a little runway in at RAF Twinwood Farm other than being near Blue Bear? Well, it's got quite an interesting backstory, and that backstory is that this is the place that Glenn Miller disappeared from in 1944. The BBC had moved out of London. There was a bomb near where they were recording, and then the day after Glenn Miller left, a V1 actually hit those studios and loads of people died. That is Blue Bear on the other side of the highway. Those buildings that aren't correct, but they're roughly in the right sort of place. And so they moved to there, and then very sadly in 1944 he had to go to Paris, or he was going off to Paris. He left from there, and the aircraft he was flying in disappeared somewhere over the channel. So I thought that would be good for you tourists to know when you're there. You drone tourists. Disappearing off on the right hand side of the pit, I should have mentioned that quicker, there was a windmill. That windmill is, well, that's where the Royal George is. It's just off there on the right. Down over there on the left, behind those trees, that's Bromham. There's a really dodgy pub there actually, and there's quite a nice, it's the Swan. The Swan's the other one's quite nice, but there is the dodgy one there. So yes, I thought I'd do a pub tour, and I've got sucked into thinking about it. Cranfield is over there a little bit. Yes, there's Cranfield over there, so let's just remind myself where I'm a little bit high now, much higher than it would be, so we'll push down, and if I go off over here, go off this, yeah, no, there's quite a good co-op in Bromham. Was it co-op? It was some sort of convenience store. Very often had very cheap beer, and it even had a shelf with South African products on it, which was crazy, but it did. So we go down this road, it will take us towards the Three Fishes at Turvey, which is a very posh pub, but if it's a nice day, it's really nice sat down on the river. And I used to live in Cold Brayfield, which is not that wood just going under the left, but the one on the horizon, and so I could walk to the Three Fishes. People from Cranfield will be sniggering at the back. The reason they'll be sniggering at the back is they have grown up professional simulators there. Not just simulators, they have wind tunnels, they have all manner of gear there for really, really clever aviation people. It is an aeronautical university. There's also flight schools and general aviation. So this trial's not just taking place in some sort of middle of nowhere, no air traffic, super safe place. It's happening where there's real people, real life, real stuff happening, real aviation. So that's pretty exciting. I obviously, because I've lived there, I suppose I have a huge bias. I've just turned without thinking about it towards this new wind farm that was built while I was there. So that's another feature that I thought one might see when at low level, because did I mention it before? I was thinking you would surely have some sort of vision-based system on board your RPAS for when GPS fails, and you would see your way, just like cruise missiles see their way to the target areas. They've got downward-facing cameras. You'd see your way to where you're going for GPS failure, multiple GPS and all that other sort of thing. But it need not be the only way. So it is there. It is over there. So I've got sucked into this world and thinking about this delivery corridor. We haven't gone directly. The other thing that I thought I should do is put a little 100 meters. I reckon if you lived in the area and people were flying stuff near you consistently, you'd want them to be at least 100 meters away. I mean, you've just got to be neighbourly, haven't you? Unless they're A, close to silent, or B, flying very high. But I can't see the CAA letting that happen over there. So I'll try this again. Obviously, we're flying manually now. I'll try this again, flying an automated mission using X-Plane 10.5 here. Arduplane and Mission Planner is talking to the aircraft in X-Plane, but obviously I'm flying manually right now. It's a really great way of running simulations of stuff. I love it to bits. Do more flying in it than in reality, and in fact that's rather come home to roost last week when I did that test flying that balked sort of live cast. Right, here we are running in at Cranfield. If you look on the charts, they've got several things. One of the things they've got is some grass runways for the helicopter operations, and a very dear friend of mine, Tim, actually used to fly out of here. I've flown out of here with Tim. Where's his office? Which one of these is one on the right? That's it. And there's the car park. Yes, that was Tim's office. So there's those grass runways. That's a heli runway. So put these aircraft in, and somewhere down here there is a lightning at the end of the runway as well. I don't know if this Ortho 4XP tiles will show it. I'll have a look at that. But I need to find a little model lightning. But there's a lightning down there as well that you can, I think, go on engine run tests up and down, taxi tests up and down the runway. I don't know if they're going to get flying. Let's pull up a bit. Let's show you. We are on the outskirts of Milton Keynes. If anyone's done an Open University course, this is where the Open University is based. So we'll pull up and have a look. Far away as well, a lot of the rest of England, Oxford and things like that. Big warehouses here. This is a great place for a delivery drone trial because the headquarters of some of the biggest people that do deliveries in the UK are here. And they have big warehouses and all that sort of a thing. Logic would tell me this would be a fantastic trial to do from Oxford, Milton Keynes and across to Cambridge, because they're in a line and the UK is trying to sort of make a tech corridor. That was the M1 that we just went over there. So the major highway coming. Is it the M1? I haven't got enough capacity to remember correctly. Anyway, it's a big motorway coming up out of London and going up north. So it's a fantastic real world area, as it were, in the UK. What do I mean? Why did I just say real world area? Because real stuff's going on there. That's why I said that. It's quite a nice pub up here. Is it at Chichley? With accommodation. If you're at this end. So the lightning's at this end of the runway somewhere. The cafe, very nice cafe. They do a very nice breakfast. That's that building, I think, going under the left corner now. And let's get ourselves back. Let's try and go direct. I've set the RTL, I haven't got the RTL altitude, but that's direct heading. Right, so going back direct, then there should be very little to hardly. Oh, I know something I added in here. when you are flying miles away from here, whilst and at low level, whilst a control tower does stick up a little bit, there's a great big caravan park here with containers and caravans on it, and the whites of the caravans, white caravans, show up from miles away. You can see that often. That was my visual cue for discovering Crownfield. But that's anyway. That's an aside. But that might be one of the sort of things that the vision system's looking for, counting caravans. Yeah, right. So this is roughly going straight back. There. I know from experience, there's very little twixt and tween the two places. Very few villages to avoid. A part of the reason I put trees in, I know now that big group of trees up on the right is at Stagston, and that's a golf course on what there is of a of a valley of hills. There really is very little, and on a clear day, because on a really clear day, navigation's even harder because you can see too far. That's Stagston now. I lived here for a while. Didn't like it as much as the other place. And then in front of us is where, I think, is it Bromham? Again, no capacity. A forward and right there. Great little aeroplane this. I will simulate deliveries in something more appropriate, some sort of flying wing from the stable of aircraft that Blue Bear has. Maybe they've even got an X-plane model they would like me to play with. That would be good. Send it in now. I'll try it in simulation. I've also got to put power lines in. There's marching power lines in here somewhere as well. I can't quite remember where they go, but they go across the back of there. Right, so we'll land. We'll be back in time for tea and medals. We'll avoid the village because that's the neighbourly thing to do. That must be Clapham, I guess. I think it's Clapham. Didn't prepare this very well, did I? Well, there we go. So I'm going to play some more. I'm going to add buildings in to avoid by 100 metres. I'm going to add other features in and go up and down all day long. And that's a great thing about simulation. Of course, you can do that. You can have there's Blue Bear down, what would be down there on the right. You can have, and I think this dual carriageway has been renamed Paula Radcliffe Way or something like that, which amuses me. We're going a little bit too fast. I haven't thought about this. This will be embarrassing. Stand by for an embarrassing landing. A bit quick. We're too quick, too flat, but anyway. And I've got to trim the yaw out. Look at that, snatching round. Too far, we won't stop. But it's made up, and it'll work better for... I would have landed in a flying wing in that distance. Anyway, like, subscribe, do whatever else you need to do on the Tubity U. I'll see you on Tuesday, 2100 GMT, for drone stuff this week. I'll just pretend that I'm fast taxiing. Cheers now.